So last week when we met, we had a conversation around library management. And I think the first session we did was getting to know each other, where we talked about the expectations we are having for the session. And then we went ahead to look at the importance of a library. So what makes a library important to the school and to the community? And in this session, we're going to talk about collection management. So I'm going to ask a few questions as we move along, as usual. And then I'm going to also allow you to go into group discussions so that we are able to discuss and share. So I'm going to share a screen, and then we're going to try and answer the questions on the screen using the tick and the cross method. So here is the screen I'm sharing. You let me know if you can see the screen. Are you able to see the screen? So we are going to try and answer those questions in a yes or no format. So as usual, like what we did last time, you're going to use the tick or the cross to show whether you understand the questions or not. So let's try and answer the questions. Guys, can you see my screen? Hello? Hello?
Hello, we can see your screen, you can see it.
Yes. So let's try and answer those questions using the tick on the stamp. If you go on the stamp, there's a tick and there's a cross. So if you agree, you tick. If you don't, you cross. It's a very quick exercise. A very quick exercise. So let's try just and rush through it. A very quick exercise should be able to take a minute. I cannot see you guys doing anything on the screen. Hi guys, you're not doing anything on the screen? Please use the tick, You go to the stamp. If you can see the stamp. Yes, I can see Fadhili, I can see. You guys are having a challenge. I can see Safari. You are saying yes. Can see Lewa, you're saying no. Safari is saying yes, it's been involved, never involved in collection development. Safari, you're saying yes and no. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing the screen now. Okay, I can see that majority of you have never been involved in the process of collection development. And I've also seen that majority of you have, do not know what your school needs. And most of you also don't know the tools that you use when you're doing collection development. So those are going to form our discussion points for this session. And as I said, we'll try to rush through it. So I have a question. Please, all of you unmute. I have a question. You can all unmute. I have a question. Why are books so heavy? Why are books so heavy? Can someone tell us why you think books are so heavy? Do you find books to be so heavy?
Yes.
Yeah, so you lift your hand. Why are books so heavy? You lift your hand, then I'll give you permission to speak. It's not a tricky question. Why are books so heavy? Yes?
I think it depends on the pages. Some are heavy because they have a lot of pages. Some are not heavy because of the pages.
Yeah, so it depends on the pages. Some are heavy because there are many pages. Some have a few pages. Any other reason why you think? Any other reason why you think books are so heavy? Why do you think books are so heavy? It's a funny question. It's not a serious question. You don't need to think about it. You lift your hand. Yes.
Yes. I think books are heavy because it depends on the information contains in the books. Some books are carrying more information, and even the cover, the
Yes.
papers that are used to make the book, some that are heavy.
Yes.
That's why they're making the books to be heavy.
Okay, yes. Lewa, why do you think books are so heavy?
I want to agree with Mr. Safari
that
the books can be heavy depending on the content that it carries, information that it carries.
Yes.
So there's some books which carries very light information, and there's some books which carry very, very touching information. Therefore I can say those with a lot of touching information, I say they're heavy. And those with light information, I can say they're very light.
Mapenzi, I can
That's
see
what I
you.
can say.
Thank you. Mapenzi, you're thinking too much. Why are books heavy?
Okay, mine is the same idea as Mr. Lewa said. It depends with the information contained in the book.
Okay, I think books are too heavy because the whole world is inside them. They carry the whole world. That is why books are so heavy. Yeah.
Heavy.
Yeah. So they carry the whole world. So I'm going to share a few things on library collection management, and I'll define some terminologies. Now, the first terminology is library collection. So a library collection refers to all the books, all the materials, or all the equipments found in the library. So everything that is found in the library forms a library collection. And I have another question. What is a library? What is a library? What is a library? Yes, Lewa. Yes. Yes, Lewa.
You can say a library.
Yes.
It's just a collection of various books.
Yes.
That pass different information.
Yes, yes. So a library is simply a collection. I'm asking that question because people usually mistake a library to be the building. So they'll tell you, because we don't have a building in the school, we don't have a library. So in essence, a library is a collection. You can have a collection, but you don't have a building. So you decide to read under a tree. You can even decide to read from a classroom. You can decide to read from a veranda, as long as you have a collection. So if you have a collection, I can see Lewa smiling. If you have a collection, you have a library. So if you guys come here and I ask, do you have a library? And you say no, you are referring to the building, but you have a collection that people can read from anywhere. Are we together? So a collection forms a library. And then selection. So selection is the process of deciding what to add to the library. Selection is the process of deciding what to add to the library. So whenever you guys have a meeting, whenever you guys have a session and you are deciding which material, which equipment, which additional learning resources you're going to add to the library, you are doing a process called selection. And then there's a process called weeding. Weeding, ile ya kupalilia. So weeding is the process of deciding what to remove from the collection. What to remove from the collection. So you may have a lot of materials, you may have a lot of computers, a lot of equipment that is not maybe appropriate or may not be relevant. So you decide to remove it from the library. You're doing a process called weeding. So collection development process is the process of cultivating or building a collection that meets the needs of the users. So the collection development process becomes the activity of cultivating, or you are building, or you are putting together a collection that meets the needs of the users. And remember, when we spoke last time, we said the users can be teachers, the users can be program managers, it can be learners, it can be teachers, yeah, and also parents. So how do you ensure that you have an excellent collection? How do you ensure that you have an excellent collection? Number one, you need to plan carefully. So the first step you need to do is planning. So planning is when you guys sit together and you say, this is the collection we want, and this is the budget we want, and this is where we are going to get the collection from. So it's very important to plan. And then number two, you need to have a clear policy in place. A policy is just a guideline. So when you guys meet and you want to build a collection, you need to have a guideline on what the procedure you're going to use to build your collection. And then number three, ongoing evaluation. Ongoing evaluation. So you have to keep evaluating your collection every single day. You have to keep going through your collection, deciding what am I going to add to the library and what am I going to remove from the library. By so doing, you're going to have an excellent collection that will enable you to meet the needs of the users. And then lastly, how do you make sure that you are also having a collection that meets the needs of the users? You need to involve all the stakeholders. You need to involve all the people in the collection development process. So you need to involve the teachers, the parents, the learners, the program manager, and all other people, maybe the education stakeholders, all of them needs to be involved in the collection development process so that you are able to meet the needs of the users. And then lastly, there are several policies that are guiding the process of collection development. And we call them the 5 principles or the 6 principles of collection development. Number one is books are for use. books are for use. I'm going to list them, then I'll discuss them later. So number 1, books are for use. Number 2, every reader his or her own book. Every reader his or her own book. Every reader his or her own book. Number 3, every book its reader. Every book its reader. I'm going to share them on the screen. Every book its reader. Every book its reader. I'm going to share that on the screen now. So every book its reader. So I'm sharing that now. And then number 4, save the time of the reader. Save the time of the reader. I'll explain those points later. And then number 5, a library is a growing organism. A library is a growing organism. So we are saying, number 1, books are for use. So when you have books in the library, as a librarian, you have to make sure that the learners are using the books. So it will not make sense to have books in the library, yet those books are not being utilized. So as a teacher librarian, you have to make sure that books are being utilized. It's very important. And then number 2, every reader his or her own book. When people come to the library, you don't force them to read the books you want them to read. You let them choose their own books to read. And when you're building a collection, make sure you're putting in the library a book for every person. And then every book its reader. So in the library, all the books in the library are very important. There's no book in the library that is not important, because a book that a child cannot read, an elder person, a teenager, or a teacher will be able to use. And then number 4, save the time of the reader. So when you are building a collection, make sure you're putting in enough books to save the time of the reader. You're also putting the books in a way, or organizing the books in a way that the readers will be able to find the material they're looking for. And then lastly, you have to make sure that the library keeps growing. So you don't say that we bought books in 2015 and that's the end of it. No, you have to keep growing the collection so that you are meeting the needs of the users as they arise. Are we together? So I want you to go in in 2 groups. So we'll have a group of 3 people each, and we are going to discuss this question in our groups. The first group is going to discuss what are the qualities of a well-developed collection? What are the qualities of a well-developed collection? That will be the first group. What are the qualities of a well-developed collection? So the first group is going to discuss the first question. What are the qualities of a well-developed collection? And then the second group, you're going to discuss what comes to your mind when you think about a school or a community library. So what comes to your mind? What do you think makes a school or community library? What comes to your mind when you think about a library, when you think about a school or community library? So we're going to take 10 minutes to discuss those 2 questions. Group number 1, this is group 1. And then group 2, you discuss that question. So Fadhili? Hello? Have you guys captured the questions? Have you guys captured the questions? Lewa, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, we've captured the questions.
Yes. Can you please put your team into groups of 2 or 3 each. I think those are going to be 2 groups. And then you discuss, and then we come back after 10 minutes. Davis, please make sure everyone comes back at 10 minutes. I'm going to end the session. Then you join with the same link. You join with the same link for the presentation. Are we together, Davis?
Yeah, tuko pamoja mwalimu.
Yeah, so we take only 10 minutes. So we come back. We come back at 2:44.
Okay.
Okay.
Sawa.
You use the same link to join, eh?
Okay. Shwari. Pamoja.